Hello, hello. Welcome back to Unleash Your Green Gorilla, the series of online LinkedIn and YouTube live broadcasts. I'm Virginia Cinquemani. I'm the director and founder of Green Gorilla Consultants Ltd, which is a coaching and training company focused on sustainability professionals, sustainability companies, and how they can make the sustainability message understood better. So we have training courses, we have coaching programs, all to help sustainability professionals communicate sustainability better and selling it as well, so influencing others to adopt it. So if you are following live, or even if you are watching this on repeat, please post a comment, say hello, tell me who you are. Today I'm going to talk about this dissonance that there is around at the moment, about hearing about sustainability everywhere, virtually, but still as sustainability people struggling to convince our clients, for example, or even our families to adopt sustainability behaviours. And I'm getting increasingly fascinated about this because it's something that really puzzled me until I understood the research behind it and the psychology behind it. And although I'm not a psychologist, I'm an eager learner and I'm passionate about psychology. So I have a technical background, but still all of this human behavior absolutely fascinates me. So it all came from the fact that I was watching TV yesterday. There you go. I usually don't watch TV, normal TV, let's say. I will watch Netflix and YouTube, etc. So I'm less used to TV ads. So yesterday I was watching Bake Off as on repeat, and from the app, I think it was Channel 4 or something, there were ads that I had to watch. Thanks, Sharon. Welcome to this talk. So I was watching these ads because I was there, and so I might as well. And I noticed 4 out of 4 had a sustainability angle in it. So there was an IKEA one, or actually now it's called IKEA, right? It was a little robot trying to save the planet, the Smarties, the Sweeties that now come in a paper box. There was BP talking about renewable energy, not about oil anymore, and there was innocent drinks talking about how to save the planet. So literally one after the other had a sustainability angle to it, which I thought, okay, that's great. And then I thought, okay, this is great, but how come we don't see the results if everything nowadays, even in business, obviously, because these people pay big money to advertise on TV, how come we don't see the results of this big sustainability shift that seem to be everywhere? And welcome, Mohammed, as well. Thank you. So we know how, if we've been in the sustainability space for the last, 5 years or 10 years, so we'll know that 3 years ago, everything has changed in a way. Just before Greta Thunberg and Extinction Rebellion and the IPCC report saying that we only had 12 years left to save the planet, sustainability had completely gone out of fashion. You weren't allowed to use green, eco, anything like that, or eco anything, because it just wasn't sexy anymore. And then Greta Thunberg came along, and I think she brought it back to main stage. So you would think, and you can see by, again, main TV, TV ads, etc., that this has become a main topic to talk about. However, the reality of the fact is that when we work with sustainability, it's hard sometimes to convince people, unless you work for, say, a big corporation that already has that credibility, I would say, and clients will seek these big players in the field. Therefore, it's more about, okay, what do we implement? It's not about the main concept of sustainability. And in fact, it's easier for bigger players to sell it. So I was thinking about this also because I'm writing a book about it, about selling sustainability ethically. And I realize the majority of people that I speak to, they have problems selling sustainability to others, so influencing others in sustainability, have as a main objection costs. 9 out of 10, we haven't got the money, or we haven't got the resources, which go back to money. It's people, but eventually it's money. So I'm thinking, okay, that's the excuse that they give you, or they give me as well sometimes. But what's underneath? So I imagine it as an iceberg. So the tip of the iceberg is the cost. So they say, oh, sustainability is expensive, we haven't got the cost, we haven't got the money, we haven't got the people to look after this part of the business if we had to change. But underneath the iceberg, there is a massive amount of fear. And that's the main human behavior behind anything that we reject. So let me explain a little bit. There are several things that are coming into place here. One is the inertia. So everyone does things, and I would say the whole of the human species managed to reach this point because for the majority of times, we do what we've always done. So we, day after day, we do the same things. We make our life habits. You know, our life is made of habits. Otherwise, our brain wouldn't cope with making a decision every second. So we do things on a regular basis, always the same, always following the same patterns. And that's how it's so difficult to change. This is the way that we have preserved our species. However, when innovation is needed, this is a big, big barrier. If you think about the human being, has been, it has evolved by little injections of innovation here and there, but for the majority of cases, we always do what we always done. So there is a big element of loss aversion in what we do. So the main fear when you think, oh, costs are, cost is as I said, is the main excuse. But underneath, there are lots of fears that are very, very human. Like, am I going to lose my status, for example? Am I going to look like a fool in front of my colleagues? Am I going to lose my reputation with my clientele, for example, with my clients? On a personal level, do I have to change my lifestyle? Am I going to lose money? So it's all about losing. This is what we're most afraid of. Or is it going to be a lot of effort and time? And again, I can't be bothered. So again, it's inertia, it's loss aversion. The other element of this is it isn't, so sustainability and the opposite, so the climate crisis and the risk that we have associated with this and the biodiversity loss and everything aren't immediate threats. They are for us in the sustainability field. We know what it means to only have, say, 10 or 8 years in front of us to fix it, and then we don't know what happens. But they aren't that, it isn't an immediate threat for the majority of people. It feels distant, it feels even imaginary for some people. It's like, when we work hard because a deadline is approaching and we've been dilly-dallying for a long time, but then when the deadline is approaching, we actually start working. So at the moment, the whole of the humanity as a whole, I would say, there are lots of amazing people that are doing a lot of work, but the majority of humanity is procrastinating. And the reason why we are procrastinating in general is because it feels overwhelming. We don't know where to start. And you would agree with me, there are lots of uncertainties around what it actually means to do, positive change, to live sustainably, to do sustainable business. It's lots of options, but at the same time, there are lots of uncertainties. Or it feels boring. It's like, okay, I have to change. Do I have really to change my lifestyle, my business plan, whatever? So this is causing a lot of friction and a lot of barriers being put up. So I'm going to read the messages here. Slow and fast thinking, yeah, absolutely. The book, I think, Sharon, you are referring to. Thanks, Fiona. Thank you. So all of this contributes to the fact that when we, as sustainability professionals, go and sell, the solutions that we think are most appropriate for that particular client or that particular project, the positive benefits that we bring forward are not enough to initiate change. And there are two main reasons for that. One is that we don't spend enough time tailoring our message. Although we know the client, we present the benefits that we think are important. For example, you're going to get certification after this, you're going to get less CO2, you're going to have less energy waste, etc. You might have operational benefits or savings. So there are distant things, there are abstract things that we care about because we know the importance of these things. However, they don't reflect necessarily what our clients would think are benefits. And the other thing is people are scared of losing more than they are willing to change to gain something. I'll say that again. People are more scared of losing than they are more interested in gaining something. So I'm going to go into the solutions in a little while, in a few minutes. But what that means is that unless we have a super compelling argument for changing, people are not going to switch. So if you promise 5% gain in anything, like, I don't care. But if you tell them that they're going to lose out, even if it's less, usually psychologically, people are more scared of losing out. So if you say, you know, by not adopting these solutions, you might lose 4% of your clients. I bet if you use that argument, you'll be more of a winner than if you say you're going to gain 5% of clients, because that's the way the brain works. So, and there is another thing which is quite interesting. If sustainability is everywhere, like on TV, like I was noticing yesterday, and most people, when you speak to them, they say, oh yeah, of course, I recycle and I care about the environment and we're trying to do meat-free Monday, whatever. How come then in their business lives, they don't adopt the same behaviors, or even in their lives in general? So yes, they recycle, but maybe they drive an SUV. Maybe they recycle, but at the same time, they jet, you know, in normal times, several times a year. Because of all that we said before, but this particular behavior, which is at odds with our values and our beliefs, is called cognitive dissonance. So that's something that happens very often. The trouble is, it's difficult to identify, and this is difficult to prevent. But what do we do? Basically, we say that we are interested in the environment and we recycle and we do what we can, but then we behave in a different way. We make up excuses. That's the thing. We say, oh, you know, but individual efforts are negligible compared to governments changing or businesses. Why should I fly less if then the factory, you know, near where I live is polluting a lot, etc. So we think, we excuse ourselves for the impact we make. And we pick always the behavior we are most familiar with. So again, what we've always done, we continue to do. So how can we switch this? Because it's difficult. Okay, change and behavioral change especially is very, very difficult. How can we tailor our messaging so that we can get through that? The first step is really about empathy. It's about understanding who you got in front of you. What do they care about? What pain do they have? And any marketeer will tell you the same thing, because this is a very common set of questions you would ask when you put together a business or you have to launch a product. Okay, how can I identify my customer's pain? What do they care about, so that I can actually try and influence them from an emotional point of view? Why? Why do we want to go to the emotions? Because as much as we think all of this is a rational thing, as much as we think we can push more arguments to our clients and try and convince them and push and push and push, but look, it's obvious, you know, this is all the data that we got. Look at this, you know, the graph that says the CO2 has increased, you know, an enormous amount of time in the last 50 years. people are not rational beings. We only act based on our emotions. Think about that. So we were talking about the fact that usually people come back to you saying, oh, but you know, we don't have the budget. And think about the last time you really, really wanted something, being that clothes or a car or whatever, or, you know, at holiday, you found the money. You found the money. So obviously costs are not a barrier, or they are obviously in certain cases, but for the majority of cases, when we really, really want something, so emotionally we are connected to that thing, whatever that is, or that experience, we find a way. So this demonstrates, in a way, that we act upon our emotions, and then we rationalize by saying, I really needed that holiday. I've been, you know, in lockdown for the last 9 months. Okay, yes, it's a bit expensive, but I really, really needed it. Okay, so we acted upon our emotions and our, you know, internal status, not by the rationale in a way, but we justify it. And that's the same in business. Although business seems a lot more rational, often, well, I'll say 99% of the times, the interactions are based on emotions. So it's really important to have an understanding, really, of who you got in front of you, understand what they care about, and try and connect to them on a personal level. That has a lot of advantages. First of all, they will trust you. So if you manage to connect, to share, you know, a joke, a laugh or something, or you know, if you have something in common, being that, you know, having gone to the same university, having lived in the same place, whatever that is, connects people on a personal level. They are going to be more inclined to listen to you and to trust you. And believe me, I've been in plenty of meetings when technical people arrive, they don't establish any rapport, they just vomit, in a way, pardon my word, but technical data. And that has zero possibility to influence anyone and anything. So pushing doesn't work, really. And even pushing information, as good as they could be, if there are percentages, if there are technical data, they don't convince anyone. So the other thing, so connect, number one. Number two, understand what could be their drivers. So why could they adopt it? What is the motivation why they could adopt the solutions that you're trying to push? And what are the barriers of adoption? And barriers are the most important thing, because as we say, we put up a lot of barriers connected to our very human nature. We need to understand what costs, what risks, because people are very, very risk adverse. Some people more than others, but risks usually and loss, as we said, is important for people in general. So what are the barriers? What are the drivers? Try and identify which one we got for each individual person. Is a very bespoke process, by the way, as you can imagine. And try and prepare as much as possible for the objections. One technique is to declare those objections openly at the beginning. So say, I know you might be thinking that this is very expensive, or I know that you might be thinking that compared to a standard solution, this is something that you haven't done before, but I think is the right solution for you right now. So once you declare that, is already in the open, is not an objection they can make. So that's a little trick. And then, you know, they might be thinking, no, actually, maybe that's not so expensive. So once you push the worst out, then it's easier to dialogue on the same level in a way. Let me just see, before I move on, let me see if there are some comments. We should believe in failure is the first step of success and keep on trying our work on sustainability. Well, absolutely. I teach resilience as part of the mastermind program that I run. And resilience is a key skill that you should really master if you want to work in this field, because it's a constant battle in a way. And who told you, well, nobody probably told you that you needed to have a little bit of psychology understanding before doing this work. Agustin says the main problem is the plastic industry because it's used too many products as it's too cheap. Well, whatever I would say, I would divorce in a way, whatever the reasons are, because we know that the reasons it all goes back to greed. You all go back to the way our society works, unfortunately. Our economy works, is for forever growth. And I was speaking last week with Russ Avery about regeneration, and we also talked about that, how human beings are incredibly greedy, and that's the reason why we are in the mess we are right now with forever profit is impossible with a finite planet, with finite resources, of course. But here we're talking about, okay, how can we overcome the barriers on a human level? When you do a deal, by the way, even if you are representing your company and you're talking to another company, remember, is always one person with another person. That's what it is one person with another person. So building up personal relationships always pay off in that sense. So in a way, how can we sell our sustainability solutions to respond to the issues? Remember, we were saying, try and understand their barriers, try and understand their needs and what their pain points are. And once you understand what their pain points are and what the real issues are, think about also what you're trying to sell. So, for example, if you are selling the adoption of natural materials with low volatile compounds or something along these lines, you actually are selling a longer life with less breathing problems to a tenant, for example, in a house. Or if you're talking to the landlord, you might be selling less complaints from tenants due to mold, due to whatever other troubles non-natural materials cause. So you're not really selling the product itself, you're selling the experience, you're selling what happens afterwards. If you're selling solar panels, you're actually selling money saved on electricity that can go towards a holiday. If you are selling smart sensors, you're selling no more hassle in sending your meter readings to the energy provider, and so on and so forth. So try and understand what is the pain point and use that solution as the perfect solution for the problem. People don't care about sensors. People don't care about energy panels or the technical elements of it. They care about the experience they get at the end of it. Another thing is, how can we lower the barriers? So because barriers seems to be, the main issue here, there are several things you could do. For example, you can make it easier and more pain-free for them to adopt the solutions that you're talking about. In my work as a consultant, I try and create, for example, as many templates as possible to give to my clients so they don't have to really do anything besides filling in the spreadsheets. If they can't do that, then I'll do it for them. Is making it as pain-free as possible. And again, having a little bit of research and talking to the people will help understand what their main barriers are. Or, for example, some people feel, the uncertainty of sustainability. Maybe some of the solutions are innovative, haven't been tried before. So how can we make it more certain? What can we bring forward? And in that case, bringing in some information might be useful. How can we dispel the myths? Maybe we can present some case studies and showing them that other people within the same sector, within the same circle of people, the same tribe, I would say, have done it with good results. It's even better if you can get testimonials from other clients, for example, because people believe and trust other people within the same circle of influence. Highlight, because people are, like we said, quite aware of loss and they're scared of losing. Highlight what they will lose if they don't work with you, or if they don't listen to you, or if they don't adopt your solution. So, for example, they will have reputation issues, or they will lose business to another company that is more innovative, or they will lose good customers that, they pay regularly, or they will lose money in, different ways. So try and highlight that by remaining exactly like they are, by doing what they always did, is actually not a good thing. They have to change in order to avoid the losses. Another tip would be to start introducing things, small changes at the time. So don't go, with a full Monty. Don't go and introduce 100 changes and or propose a big project that has so many different variables that your clients are not aware of, because they can get really scared. So if you can, try and introduce small changes as pain-free as possible, and then build on it. It's like, most websites these days, most service providers will give you a freebie or a small, lower price entry point to their services, and then they will charge you full price once you try it. So think about the same way in sustainability. How can I get them to try the solutions that you want to adopt? Maybe again, the meat-free Monday is a good example. Okay, what does it take to go meat-free 1 day a week? Is it okay? Am I gonna die? Surely you're not gonna die. You might even enjoy it. And then maybe you can do 2 days a week, and maybe you can do 3 days a week, and so on and so forth. Yes, and that's it. Okay, let me look at the questions. So Augustine is saying, perhaps many customers are also responsible when buying unsustainable products. Yes, absolutely. I mean, of course, it's a market that is fed by market demand, and is a bit of a chicken and egg situation here when, companies are offering unsustainable products and they make them really cheap. And of course, the people that don't ask themselves too many questions just buy them because of the convenience. And who can blame them? But because they don't know the story behind. So it takes a little bit of education of your clients or the public in general, depending on who you're speaking to and why, you're interested in this topic. But it's also that everyone has a responsibility, I would say. But we can change people's minds and behavior if we focus on them, not on us. In other talks that you'll find, on YouTube, I spoke about how to sell sustainability ethically, which is part of this. And I talked how the focus should always be on the other person, not on your technical knowledge, not on your jargon, because that doesn't really sell anything. And this is sort of part of it, and going a little bit more into the behavior of your potential clients and your audience. Now, this is it from me. If you have more questions, please pop them in. Considering there is a little bit of lag in time, I'm going to wait another minute, but I just wanted to let you know that our website has been recently refreshed. So you can see it here, thegreengorilla.co.uk. I think it looks amazing. A fantastic illustrator made it really quite nice and engaging. And there are lots of resources, free videos, courses that we offer, and programs that can really, really help you to sell sustainability ethically, to communicate effectively, and win people over via coaching, via training, and via all of the resources that we offer as part of the Green Gorilla packages. So yeah, check it out, see, and if you want to, a one-to-one 15 minutes free chat to talk about your issues, I'm more than happy to, give you a link so you can book a little slot in my calendar. We can have a chat, which is always a good thing. And and maybe we can connect that way. I would love to. And so please get in touch either via the website or by contacting me directly here on LinkedIn. Or put in a comment on YouTube, why not? Thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much, everyone that have participated today or that is watching this on record. And I hope to see you very soon. Thank you. Bye.